Do you ever wake up feeling like you're wading through treacle before your day has even properly begun? You've had your hours of sleep, maybe even a good night, but that morning energy, that clarity, it just seems missing, doesn't it? It's a frustrating feeling, and one many of us over 60 can certainly relate to. What if I told you a major reason for this morning fog might be simpler than you think? Today, we're going to zero in on one crucial, yet often overlooked, morning habit, or rather, the lack of it. We're talking about starting your day parched, basically, being dehydrated first thing in the morning after hours without water. Understanding why this matters is key to reclaiming your morning vitality. Even mild dehydration can drain your energy, cloud your thinking, make you feel dizzy, and set a sluggish tone for the entire day. Getting enough water right away supports your body's natural rhythm, contributing significantly to your physical comfort, mental sharpness, and overall peace of mind. It helps prevent issues like constipation and those nagging headaches too. I remember my friend George, he's in his early 70s, always used to say he didn't properly wake up until his second coffee around 10 o'clock. He felt foggy and slow every single morning. Then he started a simple routine, just a glass of water right by his bed, drinking it down the moment he woke up. He told me it made an unbelievable difference, like it properly kick-started his engine for the day. It's amazing how such a small change can impact our well-being. We'll talk more about how easy it is to fix this. If you think this information could be helpful for you or someone you know, please give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe if you'd enjoy more straightforward tips for living well as we age. Now let's talk about starting our day right, specifically what we put in the tank first thing. I call it avoiding the running on empty trap. You know, it's tempting sometimes to just grab a quick cup of tea and maybe a biscuit, or even skip breakfast altogether if you're rushing. But think about it, our bodies have been fasting all night while we sleep. Trying to get going without proper fuel is like asking your car to drive on fumes. It just doesn't work well for long. What often happens, especially if we choose something sugary like a sweet pastry or just that lonely biscuit, is our blood sugar shoots up, then crashes down soon after. That's why you might feel that slump mid-morning, suddenly feeling tired or even a bit shaky. Over the long haul, starting the day like this can mess with our energy levels consistently, making it harder to stay active and focused, and it can even contribute to putting on a few extra pounds we don't want. Take my neighbor Eleanor, she's 75 and sharp as a tack, but she used to complain about hitting a wall around 10:30 every morning. Turns out, her breakfast was just a couple of plain biscuits with her tea. Minimal fuel, really. She finally decided to try something different after chatting with her daughter. She switched to having a bowl of porridge, adding some berries for sweetness and a few chopped nuts for staying power. The change was remarkable, she told me. No more mid-morning crash, she feels much more energetic right through until lunch. So, here's the simple takeaway. Treat your breakfast like the important fuel it is. Try to include some protein and fiber to give you steady, lasting energy. Maybe some scrambled eggs or whole wheat toast with avocado, or yogurt with fruit and a sprinkle of seeds. Even just that bowl of oatmeal like Eleanor's can make a huge difference to how you feel all day. You know, my walking buddy Frank, he loves his comfy armchair. Used to spend hours settled in, especially watching the telly in the afternoons. But he mentioned he was feeling terribly stiff afterwards and, funnily enough, more tired than before he sat down. It sounds a bit backwards, doesn't it? You'd think a good long sit would rest you properly, but for many of us, it actually does the opposite. Falling into that sit trap is easy to do. When we stay put for too long, our circulation slows right down. Think of it like a gentle stream becoming stagnant. Blood doesn't move around as briskly, meaning less oxygen gets delivered to our muscles and brain. Our muscles, especially in our legs and back, can tighten up something chronic, leading to those familiar aches and pains. And that feeling of lethargy, it's not just in your head, it's your body telling you it needs to move. So, Frank decided to make a small change. Nothing dramatic, mind you. Now, whenever the adverts interrupt his programs, that's his cue. He makes himself get up, has a little walk around the living room, perhaps does a gentle stretch towards the ceiling. And he swears it's made a tremendous difference. He feels much less creaky and noticeably more alert when the show comes back on. It's a simple but powerful idea, avoiding the sit trap. We certainly don't need to be jogging on the spot. Just consciously breaking up those long periods of sitting helps enormously. Why not set a little reminder for yourself? Use your phone or an old kitchen timer like I do to nudge you to stand up every hour or so. Take a brief stroll around the house, check on the plants, or step outside for a breath of fresh air if the weather's kind. Even simply marching your feet while seated or doing a few shoulder rolls makes a difference. It truly helps keep the joints from seizing up and maintains a steadier level of energy through the day, preventing that afternoon slump. You know, my dear friend Jane was getting herself into such a state. Every morning, first thing, she'd grab her tablet and start scrolling through the news headlines. By the time I'd call her mid-morning, she'd be all worked up, agitated about this crisis or that politician. It really cast a shadow over her whole day, and it made me think, how many of us do that? We let all that worry and negativity just flood in, especially first thing in the morning or right before we try to sleep. It's like opening the door to a storm. This constant barrage of news, especially the stressful kind, or just the sheer amount of information coming at us online, it really taxes our minds, doesn't it? It drains our mental energy, leaving us feeling anxious, overwhelmed, and frankly, just tired. Our minds keep racing when they really should be winding down or focusing on something pleasant, something real in our own lives. It chips away at our peace. Ignoring this constant drain can really affect our mood and even our sleep quality over time. So, Jane decided enough was enough. She made a simple change. Now, she doesn't look at any news until after lunch and just for a little bit. Her mornings are for a cup of tea and a good book, or listening to music. The difference, night and day, truly. She's so much calmer, less drained. It's about protecting your own peace of mind. Maybe try limiting your news intake to just once a day, at a set time that isn't right before bed or first thing upon waking. And definitely try putting the screens away for at least an hour before bed and when you first wake up. Fill that time with something gentle, maybe some light stretching, chatting with your spouse, listening to the radio, or planning something nice for the day ahead. It really can make a world of difference to how you feel. Now, another thing we sometimes overlook is our body clock. My neighbor Bill, lovely chap, used to have the strangest sleep habits. Some nights he'd burn the midnight oil watching old westerns, then sleep in late the next morning. Other days he'd be up with the birds but then crash out for a long nap in his armchair come the afternoon. He often complained about feeling drained, just lacking that bit of spark. What Bill was doing, probably without even thinking about it, was completely ignoring his body's natural rhythm. We all have this internal clock, and it really thrives on routine, especially as we get a bit older. When you constantly change your sleep times like Bill did, going to bed and waking up at different hours each day, it confuses everything. It messes with the hormones that are supposed to tell your body when it's time to sleep and when it's time to have energy. This is why consistency is so important. Ignoring your body clock often leads to really poor quality sleep, even if you feel like you spend enough hours in bed. You wake up feeling groggy, and that tiredness can linger all day long. It's not about the quantity of sleep sometimes, but the quality, and that internal clock plays a big part. Thankfully, Bill took some friendly advice and decided to get serious about his sleep schedule. He now aims for a regular 10:30 p.m. bedtime and gets up around 7 a.m. every single day, even on Saturdays and Sundays. He told me just the other week it's worked wonders for his energy levels. He feels much more alert during the day. So, if you often find yourself feeling tired for no obvious reason, take an honest look at your sleep routine. The best advice I can give is to try your very best to go to bed and wake up around the same time each day. It might take a little getting used to, but it can make a real difference. Creating a relaxing little ritual before bed can also help signal to your body that it's time to wind down. Maybe half an hour reading a book, a warm, soothing bath, or just listening to some gentle music. Give your body that clear signal that it's time to rest and recharge properly. Alright folks, let's talk about keeping our energy up. It really does get trickier as the years go by, doesn't it? One simple thing we often overlook is just plain water. Our bodies don't signal thirst quite as strongly as they used to. It's easy to get a bit dehydrated without even realizing it. And what happens then? We feel sluggish, tired, maybe even a little foggy in the head. It can really sap your get up and go. Take my neighbor George, he's 79. He was always complaining about hitting a wall mid-afternoon. Turns out he was barely drinking anything between meals. Now he makes a point of keeping a water bottle nearby and sipping throughout the day. He says it's made a world of difference. So a simple bit of advice: try keeping a glass or bottle of water handy wherever you spend most of your time. Maybe set a little reminder on your phone if that helps. Every little sip counts. Now another energy booster. Think about Eleanor, 82, bless her heart. For years she just had a bit of toast and jam for breakfast, or sometimes skipped it altogether if she wasn't hungry first thing. By about 10:30 she feel completely drained, needing to lie down. Her daughter suggested she try something more substantial like porridge. Eleanor was skeptical, thinking it would be too heavy, but she gave it a go. Slowly cooked oats, maybe with a few berries. Well, what do you know? That slow-release energy kept her going right through till lunchtime. No more mid-morning slump. It's because starting the day with something sugary or nothing at all can lead to a quick energy spike followed by a crash. Whereas something like porridge provides steady fuel. So my tip here is try starting your day with a balanced breakfast. Think whole grains like oats or maybe some eggs for protein. It sets a much better pace for your energy levels throughout the entire day. Well, that brings us to the end of our chat today about keeping our energy levels up as we enjoy these golden years. It's really about making small, consistent choices for our health, isn't it? It's not about running marathons, unless you want to, of course. For me, just remembering to drink that extra glass of water in the afternoon made a surprising difference, much more than I expected. Finding what works for you is key. Maybe it's that gentle morning stretch we talked about, or perhaps trying that simple recipe packed with energy-boosting goodies. I remember when I first started adding more leafy greens to my lunch. It felt like a chore initially, but goodness me, after a week or so, that mid-afternoon slump wasn't hitting me quite as hard. Give one little thing a try this week, just one. Remember, staying active and engaged is truly a gift we give ourselves. It keeps not just the body, but the mind sharp too. My neighbor, Martha, she's 82, you know. She started doing chair yoga from a video much like this one just last year. Now, she tells me she has more get up and go than she did 5 years ago. She's even joined a book club. It just goes to show, it's never too late to find a new spark. So, I hope you found some useful nuggets in our discussion today. If you did, perhaps give this video a little thumbs up, it helps others find it too. And do consider subscribing if you haven't already. We talk about all sorts of things relevant to us folks over 65. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. What's one small thing you do to keep your energy up? Sharing your tips helps us all. Alright then, that's all from me for now. Take good care of yourselves, stay curious, stay active, and I'll look forward to chatting with you again very soon. Bye for now. What if I told you one of the most common morning habits might actually be setting you back for the entire day, before you even have your first cup of coffee or tea? It's something so simple, many of us don't even think about it. Hello there. Today, we're talking about a crucial morning step that often gets missed: drinking a glass of water right when you wake up. Now, I know it sounds basic, but neglecting this can really impact how you feel. After hours of sleep, our bodies are naturally dehydrated. Rehydrating first thing is vital for kickstarting your system, flushing out toxins, getting your metabolism gently moving, and even sharpening your mind. Making this small change can honestly make a world of difference to your energy levels, your mental clarity, and just how comfortable you feel physically throughout the day. Ignoring this simple need can lead to that dragging fatigue, bothersome brain fog, constipation, and even dry skin that makes us look older than we feel. It's all about achieving that daily comfort and peace of mind, starting from the moment you wake up. I remember my neighbor George, a lovely fellow in his early 70s. He always complained about feeling sluggish in the mornings and went straight for his coffee maker. I suggested he try having a big glass of water first, just plain water, before anything else. He started keeping a bottle by his bedside. A few weeks later, he told me he couldn't believe the difference. He felt so much more alert and less foggy-headed as the morning went on. It really works. So in this video, we'll explore exactly why this first glass is so powerful and how easy it is to make it a part of your routine. If you find this helpful, do give the video a little thumbs up. And please consider subscribing for more tips like this, designed for us seniors looking to feel our best. Now, let's talk about something else many of us are guilty of. The all-day sit. Take my friend Eleanor. She's a lovely lady, but she had got into the habit of spending most of her afternoons reading in her comfy armchair. After a while, she started noticing she was getting really quite stiff, particularly in her knees, and just generally feeling a bit sluggish. Her daughter finally convinced her to try just a little 10-minute walk around the garden after her lunch each day. Honestly, the change was remarkable. After just a few weeks, Eleanor said she felt looser, her knees weren't bothering her nearly as much, and she felt brighter, with more energy for her grandchildren. Eleanor's story really highlights what happens when we spend too long just sitting down. Our bodies, you see, they weren't designed to be parked in one spot for hours on end. They crave movement. When we stay put for too long, everything starts to slow down. Our metabolism doesn't work as efficiently. Blood doesn't circulate as well as it should, and our muscles, especially in our legs and our core, can get weak. This doesn't just lead to stiffness and aches. It puts us at a higher risk for more serious problems like gaining weight, developing type 2 diabetes, or having heart troubles. It can affect our balance too, making falls more likely, and can even bring our mood down. It literally makes us feel older than we need to. So, what's the solution? It's actually quite simple. We need to consciously break up those long periods of sitting. Try setting a timer, maybe on your watch or the microwave, to remind yourself to get up and move every hour or so. You don't need to do anything strenuous. Just stand up, walk around the room a few times, do some gentle stretches by your chair. Even marching in place while you watch the telly during the adverts helps. If you're looking for something more structured, perhaps consider a gentle exercise class like Tai Chi or maybe some chair yoga. They can be wonderful for keeping you supple and strong. The key is just to keep moving, little and often. Now, let's talk about something subtle but oh so important. Number 3 is letting loneliness creep in by neglecting our social connections. I saw this happen with my friend Frank. After he retired from his accounting job, a job he'd done for 40 years, he just seemed to deflate a bit. His lovely wife, Martha, told me he was spending most days just watching television, getting quite withdrawn, and she noticed he seemed rather down in the dumps. He wasn't seeing his old work colleagues anymore, and his days lacked structure. He was missing that sense of purpose, you see. We all need that connection, that feeling of belonging. It keeps our spirits up and our minds ticking over. Martha gently nudged him for months to find something, anything, to get him out of the house. He finally, very reluctantly, agreed to try the local men's shed. Just once a week, he promised her. Well, that was 2 years ago. Now, Frank goes 3 times a week. He's made a whole new circle of mates. They'd tinker with old engines, build things for the community garden, and mostly, they just talk and laugh. Honestly, he seems years younger, full of energy again. It just shows how crucial staying connected is. We're wired for it. Isolation isn't good for the soul, or the body for that matter. It can lead to feeling low, anxious, and some studies even link it to memory problems down the line. So please, don't let yourself drift into isolation. Make a little effort, pick up the phone and call an old friend you haven't spoken to in a while. Look into joining a local club, maybe a book group, a walking club, or something at the senior center. Even just chatting with your neighbors regularly makes a difference. Think of it like scheduling a doctor's appointment. Put social time in your calendar and treat it as important. Because it truly is. Alright, let's talk about something many of us might find hits close to home, the sweet trap in those convenient, but often not so good for us, processed foods. You know, it's easy to fall into habits. My longtime friend Jane, for example, always loved her afternoon tea with a couple of biscuits. It was her daily ritual, her little treat, but she often complained about feeling sluggish later in the day, that real energy dip. What many of us don't realize is how much this steady diet of sugary things and processed items can affect us, especially as we get older. It's not just about putting on a bit of weight, although that certainly can happen, particularly around the middle. The bigger issue is that excess sugar fuels inflammation throughout our bodies. Think of inflammation as a sort of internal rust, contributing to things like heart disease, higher risk of diabetes, and even making our joints ache more. Plus, these processed foods often lack the good stuff, the fiber, vitamins, and minerals our bodies really need to thrive. They can leave you feeling tired and, frankly, a bit cheated nutritionally. Jane decided to experiment. She swapped her daily biscuits for a small bowl of colorful berries with a spoonful of plain yogurt. Just that simple change. After about a month, she called me, absolutely delighted. Not only had she lost a little bit of weight without really trying, but that dreaded afternoon slump she always battled. It was gone, completely vanished. She even felt her skin looked a bit brighter, which makes sense, as too much sugar can actually damage the collagen that keeps our skin firm. So, what can we practically do about this? It really boils down to making conscious choices more often. Try to fill your plate with whole foods. Think fresh fruits and vegetables, lean proteins like chicken or fish, beans, nuts, and whole grains like oats or brown rice. Get into the habit of glancing at food labels. You'd be amazed where sugar hides, often in savory things like pasta sauces, bread, and breakfast cereals. Consider swapping sugary drinks, even fruit juices which can be high in sugar, for water, maybe with a slice of lemon or a comforting herbal tea. Cooking simple meals at home gives you control over the ingredients. And those cakes, biscuits, and sweets, think of them as occasional treats, something for a celebration or a special afternoon, rather than an everyday necessity. Your energy levels, your joints, and your overall well-being will thank you for it. Alright, let's talk about something we all do, or sometimes don't do enough of: sleeping. Now, you might think, oh, I am older, I don't need as much sleep. But that's just not true. Getting enough quality sleep is absolutely vital as we age. Think of it like nightly maintenance for your body and brain. While you're snoozing, your body is hard at work repairing cells, sorting through memories, balancing hormones, and keeping your immune system strong. When we skimp on sleep, day after day, it really takes a toll. You might notice you're more forgetful, maybe a bit grumpy, or you just can't seem to focus like you used to. It can even make you more likely to catch colds or worsen chronic aches and pains. Honestly, consistently poor sleep literally stops our bodies from doing their necessary overnight repairs. Take my friend Betty, my bridge partner. She loves her old movies and used to stay up quite late watching them. Lovely lady, but she'd often come to our bridge games feeling, as she put it, fuzzy-headed. She'd forget bids or make silly mistakes she wouldn't normally make. It was frustrating for her. Eventually, she decided enough was enough and set herself a strict 10 p.m. lights-out rule. The difference has been remarkable. She tells me she feels so much sharper now, her memory seems clearer, and she enjoys our games much more because she can actually concentrate. So, what can we do? Aim for those golden 7 to 9 hours if you can. Try sticking to a regular sleep schedule, same bedtime, same wake-up time, even on the weekends. It really helps set your body's internal clock. Wind down before bed, put away the screens, maybe read a chapter of a good book, take a warm bath, or listen to some calming music. Make sure your bedroom is a sleep sanctuary, dark, quiet, and comfortably cool. And maybe skip that late-night cup of tea or heavy snack. If you're really struggling to get good rest night after night, it's worth having a chat with your doctor. Don't just dismiss it. Good sleep is foundational to good health. So there you have it. 5 everyday habits that might just be sneaking up on us, making us feel a bit older than we need to. It's funny, isn't it? It's rarely one big dramatic thing that slows us down or makes us feel our age. More often, it's the little things, those seemingly harmless routines we barely notice, that add up over time. Ignoring them can mean feeling unnecessarily tired or stiff, perhaps losing a bit of sharpness, or even feeling a bit isolated if we let those social habits slide. We don't want that. The accumulation is what gets you, chipping away at our vitality without us really noticing until we wonder why we don't feel quite like our old selves. But here's the wonderful part, the truly good news. It is never, ever too late to nudge things in a better direction. I remember my neighbor, Jean, she's about 75. She felt completely overwhelmed when she realized a few of her habits weren't doing her any favors. She thought she had to change everything overnight, but she didn't. She just started small, and that truly is the secret. Please, don't try to tackle everything we talked about all at once. Goodness knows, that's just a recipe for feeling discouraged before you even begin. Instead, just pick one habit from today's chat that resonated with you, something that made you think, maybe I could tweak that just a little. Focus on making that one small shift this week. Maybe it's simply pouring yourself an extra glass of water each morning before your tea. Perhaps it's putting on your shoes right after lunch for a quick walk around the block, even just 5 or 10 minutes to start. Or maybe it's finally picking up the phone to call that friend you've been meaning to reach for ages. Honestly, these little changes, they build on each other like stepping stones. They really do add up to feeling healthier, more energetic, more vibrant. Let's make the most of these years we have, shall we? Let's embrace them with energy and a bit of joy. Take good care of yourselves, look after each other, and I'll catch you in the next video. Well now, that brings us to the end of our little chat today. Remember, looking after ourselves as we get older isn't about finding some magic anti-aging secret fountain, is it? It's really about the small, steady things we do each day. Those healthy habits we build. It's about choosing vitality, choosing to age well, right here and now. It takes a bit of effort, sure, but the payoff is feeling stronger and more engaged with life. I know sometimes it feels like an uphill climb, especially on those days when the joints are creaking a bit louder than usual. But we're not alone in this journey, are we? Think about it. What works for me might be slightly different for you, and that's perfectly all right. Maybe you have a wonderful walking group, or perhaps you've discovered a love for water aerobics like my neighbor, Jean. She absolutely swears by it, says it's done wonders for her arthritis, and she's met some lovely people too. That's the beauty of sharing our experiences and finding what fits our own lives and needs. So, I'd genuinely love to hear from you down in the comments. What's one small healthy habit that makes a big difference in your day? Maybe it's a morning stretch routine you follow, a healthy recipe you enjoy making, or just making time for a quiet cup of tea and a good book. Let's learn from each other. Honestly, hearing your stories and tips brightens my day and gives me new ideas too. Just last week, someone mentioned trying chair yoga after seeing one of my videos where I talked about my stiff back. And I thought, well, isn't that a grand idea? I looked one up right here on YouTube and gave it a go in my living room. Felt surprisingly good. It just shows, doesn't it? We can always learn something new, especially from each other. That's why I love reading the comments. Now, if you found our chat helpful today, perhaps give this video a little thumbs up. It lets me know what you enjoy, and it helps other folks find our little community too. And if you'd like to join me for more talks about making the most of these golden years, maybe trying things like that chair yoga, or just navigating senior living with a bit of grace and good humor, do consider subscribing. Thank you ever so much for watching. Stay well, stay active, and I hope to see you again very soon. Bye for now.